Hello and welcome to this week's News Desk. It is Season 4, Episode 9, and we are recording on Tuesday, March the 1st. Nancy Gillen is in London, and I, Chris Stafford, am in Middleburg, Virginia. But what a crazy world we're waking up to, Nancy.
Yeah, it has just been definitely a strange week. It's been, I think, even in the world of sport, there's nothing that the current situation isn't really infiltrating, and that's very much the same in sport. And it's quite hard to kind of keep on top of everything that's going on at the moment. So, yeah, it's been strange.
It has been strange. I'm sure it will continue to be for a while. We can't predict the future, but we know that every day we wake up, it is the ongoing situation in Russia and Ukraine, Russia invading Ukraine, and the impact that it has, as Nancy said, across the world in all sectors and all worlds, really, from beyond Europe and NATO to North America and beyond. So it's a global situation, and it is affecting sport. And in many ways, and we've seen already the International Olympic Committee are leaving it to the international federations of each sport, Nancy, to impose sanctions on Russia.
Yeah, it's been, essentially that's what the IOC has recommended. And I think you've seen already some international federations do that and I suppose prohibit Russian and Belarusian athletes from competing, or kind of throwing the teams out of competitions. With other international federations, we haven't seen them come around to making a decision yet, but it is kind of a constantly changing situation. But I think it the fact that the IOC, kind of the overarching body in sport, has given it as their recommendation to remove athletes from Russia and Belarus from sport and competition is obviously incredibly significant. And I mean, in my memory, I don't know about you, Chris, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like that happen before.
Not to this extent, no. For sure not. And as I said, we're seeing sanctions left and right across sports and federations and the organising committees of events around the world, competitions around the world. It's impacted absolutely every corner of sport. And in that announcement from the IOC, they also included that they have stripped President Vladimir Putin of the Olympic order, and he's also being dropped from the International Judo Federation as president. So there's a lot of ways that this is impacting sport and the countries that are involved. So I think we'll just watch this space, Nancy. Is there anything that of a particular note that you want to draw attention to, under this? Because I think it's so big and it's affecting so much, and it's rolling out, as you say, every day. It's changing every day.
Yeah, well, I think over here there was particular interest with obviously, we've got the Euros happening, Euro 2022, right, which Russia were due to compete in. But FIFA have since said that they are going to implement the IOC's recommendations. So it looks like Russia aren't going to be competing over here anyway, which is, there had been, I think, individual FAs had said that they wouldn't, that if FIFA hadn't done that, they would be boycotting matches against Russia anyway. So they've kind of avoided a bit of a tricky situation by doing that. I think as well, we're yet to see what's happening with the Paralympics as well. I don't think there's been I think it's at their meeting on Wednesday tomorrow to decide a policy on that. I think with the Olympics and the Paralympics, it's quite interesting anyway, because you already have a number of Russian athletes that can't compete because of the doping scandal that's come in the years beforehand. So whether there's also going to be a blanket ban for the Paralympics, we will have to wait until tomorrow and see what they decide on that.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought up the Paralympics, because we haven't talked enough about them. They're kind of the poor relation when it comes to the Olympic and Paralympic movement, falling one after the other in terms of the Olympic cycle. But they do start, those Paralympics, they do start in Beijing in a couple of days' time, and on the 4th, actually, and go through to the 13th. Now, there's 78 events across 6 sports, so it's no small competition. And I know over here in the States, NBC will be covering it Primetime. How is it going to be shown in the UK? How much attention is that getting, Nancy, so far?
I mean, in terms of the build-up, very little. I think, as we've talked about, there's kind of or the wider events that are happening around the world is definitely taking up most of the public consciousness. But I would say that with the caveat that obviously winter sport isn't the most popular here anyway, and the Olympics didn't have that much attention. But the Paralympics, Winter Paralympics, will be shown on Channel 4, the same as the Summer Olympics are. And Channel 4 are always really good at the coverage of the Paralympics. And obviously that's a free-to-air channel over here as well. And I believe that their whole hosting panel will all be disabled people. So it's a very kind of inclusive and representative hosting and commentary panel that Channel 4 have put together. So I think it will be easy to access, certainly, and I'm sure that the coverage will be really top quality as well. So I'm sure once the games get underway, there will be a little bit more interest.
I did see that Britain's named the biggest team since 1984 at the Lillehammer Winter Olympics.
Yeah, that's right. So I think it's 25 in total. So that's 5 wheelchair curlers and then a variety of athletes from ski and snowboard. So alpine skiing, Nordic skiing, and snowboarding. That we do have some Olympic defending champions. So Mena Fitzpatrick, she won 4 alpine skiing medals in the visually impaired B2 class at Pyeongchang in 2018, including slalom gold. So she will be competing again. So it's not out of the question that Britain can be winning some medals. So hopefully with a big team as well, that increases the likelihood. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for when it starts to be watching that and getting behind Team GB.
Yeah, I would imagine the success of the GB curling team in Beijing for the Winter Olympics would be inspiration to the wheelchair curlers in Beijing this week coming up. Don't you think? I mean, that would be exciting. I would think doing wheelchair curling. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it as well. It's. I mean, curling, I do really like it to watch curling. And yeah, I think it's probably kind of even more exciting. And like you said, I mean, the curlers from the Olympics got a really, really positive reception when they got back here. So I think that would definitely motivate the wheelchair curlers as well, just to, try and emulate some of their success. And I imagine they definitely took inspiration from that. So yeah, I think it would be amazing if we could get, medal across the board in curling. So yeah, we'll have to see. Become
a dominant country.
Yeah.
Sort of curling and Paralympic curling. Well, we'll watch that for sure and bring you updates, of course, next week on the show, next 2 weeks here at With Sports. Now, we're going to move to cycling. We've got some good news about cycling. The Flanders Classic closing the gap on equal pay.
This is really good news. I think cycling hasn't always been the best in terms of the prize money available to the male and female cyclists. But the Tour of Flanders, which is probably one of the biggest races on the cycling calendar, they've now announced that they're going to give the same prize money to the women as the men. Just for an example of the disparity that had gone previously, I think it was last year, Annemiek van Vleuten won the women's race and won just under €1,400 compared to Casper Asgreen, who won the men's race. He got €20,000. So that's, pretty unacceptable. There's no legitimate reason to have that disparity. So yeah, now it's going to be an equal split. I think it's going to be, it says €50,000, of which €20,000 for the winner will be distributed among both the men and the women. So whether that's 20,000 each or 10,000 each, I'm not sure. But as long as it's equal, yes. That's all we care about.
Yeah, as you said, cycling has not had a good reputation, has it?
No.
For equal prize money for women. So this is progress.
Yeah, and there's actually been a campaign for this. I think it was launched in 2020. So this is still taken 2 years to achieve. And yeah, I think, like you said, they don't have the best reputation. So I think it's good that cycling is slowly getting there, and hopefully it encourages organisers of other races to do the same.
I mean, maybe it would just shame them into thinking about it, and maybe, the cyclists, the athletes themselves will vote on their feet.
You'd hope so. You'd hope that maybe, these ones that are offering equal prize money are maybe the more popular, or, the ones that athletes want to compete at. And same with spectators as well, and people that tune in to watch it on TV, if they can somehow have some kind of influence over, watching the ones that give equal pay, that would probably also have an impact. Yeah.
You're not a cyclist, are you? You're just a runner. Is cycling something you've ever done or planned?
Not. I definitely enjoy it. I've done it like a bit. Obviously, when I was a child, I had a bike and I did really love it. It would be something that I would be interested in doing, but cycling around London is just at the moment for me terrifying. Like, a lot of my friends do it, and they're like, once you start, it's really easy. But I think it's just initially getting the bike and then starting to cycle around London. But
or putting the bike rack on your car and getting out into the country.
Or leaving London, that's very true. Yeah. I currently don't have a bike, so that would be the first step if I was to take up cycling.
But currently you are busy training for a marathon, so you can't do everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm playing football as well, so I'm going to the gym. So there's only so much time in the day where you can, have to choose my activities wisely.
Oh, you're kicking a ball around again?
Yeah, I've started playing football again. Yeah, at the start of the year, it was just a team that some of my friends have set up. So we're just kind of like five-a-side training at the moment, but it's really good. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, a lot of sporting stuff on my plate at the moment.
Yeah, you do. That's awesome. Well, maybe you want to talk about the Arnold Clark Cup then, because you've got something to celebrate over there.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's a really positive news for the England women's team. They won the Arnold Clark Cup, which was the friendly invitational tournament taking place here between England, Spain, Germany and Canada. It was a pretty closely contested tournament. I think there were a lot of draws. So England drew 1-1 with Canada and then 0-0 with Spain. And then there were similar results in all the other matches. So England came up against Germany in the final game. I think there was a lot of potential connotations. I think Spain were on track to win the tournament if we didn't win, or if we only won by 1 goal or something like that. But thankfully we won 3-1 against Germany. It was a really, I think, pretty impressive performance in my opinion. So we won the tournament overall, which I think it wasn't that I was pessimistic, but previous to the tournament, there hadn't really been that much opportunity to see England play against really, really high quality opposition, kind of the teams that are in the top 10 in the world. So I think to go undefeated against 3 of those teams and win the tournament overall, it's made me quite optimistic for the Euros this summer. So yeah, good news for women's football here.
And since we last spoke, of course, we finalised the She Believes Cup by winning that again with a 5-0 defeat of Iceland. Did you manage to see the highlights of that, Nancy?
I did, yeah. It was quite comprehensive, wasn't it? It was. I think it was an interesting tournament, that one, because it was a lot of varying teams. I think it was teams that I, don't really get to see play that much. But yeah, congrats to the US for winning that as well.
Yeah, and my player of the tournament was one of those players who scored twice in that game against Iceland, and that's Kat Macario. I just think she's an awesome, exciting player to have on. I mean, she's so. And I was getting excited about her before she scored, and I texted to somebody and I said, "Oh my goodness, this Kat Macario is just it." And blow me down, she scored 2 goals.
Yeah, you've obviously got a good eye for talent there.
Well, she's the talent. She speaks for herself. She really does. And Mel Pugh scored 2 goals too, so that was awesome. And then Kirsten Mewis added to that. So it was a very good finale for the US, testing out a lot of young players too. So be very interesting to see where they go next, though, Nancy, with this, because they've got so many veterans that are just waiting at home on their sofa, waiting to get the call up.
Yeah, and I mean, is there a big tournament until is the World Cup the next big tournament for the women, for the US women's team? Is there a tournament this summer happening, or is it just the European?
Well, it's the Olympic qualifiers, of course, for us this summer. But I think we've got something in April. I'd have to look up now that we've got past the She Believes Cup, and remind myself what's coming up in April. But I do believe there is something. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like if the World Cup is the next, well, yeah, obviously there's important matches, but potentially now maybe they're thinking, what's the best possible team we can have for that World Cup? And I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it would be very interesting to see what happens with the veterans, because it's, I think a lot of them haven't really necessarily had a chance to say goodbye. If that is to be the case, they haven't really, they've just kind of been dropped and that's it. So it's kind of interesting to see what will happen with that.
Well, we've got Tobin, of course, Tobin Heath and Chris Press and Alex Morgan and Meg Rapinoe right there. And then, of course, Crystal Dunn, who is in the third trimester. She wanted to remind us on Twitter this morning she's having her baby shortly, and she said literally she's in the final stretch, and that would be the final stretch of her stomach.
Gosh, yeah, she must be getting close.
Yeah, so there's her. There's a number of other players that Lindsay Horan, of course, she was injured. There's a few of them that just sort of waiting in the wings. Sam Mewis. So yeah, we will watch this space with interest, very much so, to see who they bring out for the rest of the year. Commonwealth sport now, Nancy, and that's cricket, of course, one of my favourite sports, because the Women's Cricket World Cup starts this week down under, doesn't it, in New Zealand?
It does, yeah. So we had the Women's Ashes take place last month, and now that happened in Australia, and now we switched to the other country in that region for the Women's Cricket World Cup, which, starts on March the 4th, which is Thursday, and then runs for basically a month. So it's quite a long tournament. There are 8 countries involved, including defending champions England, Australia, who probably are the best team in the world right now, New Zealand, and then you've also got South Africa, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and the West Indies. There's been some interesting kind of warm-up matches taking place. So, like I said, I think Australia are probably fancied as the favourites, but New Zealand actually beat Australia by 9 wickets in a warm-up game. So it was, I think probably a bit of a shock for Australia, that.
Very much so, and a nice surprise for New Zealand too. But England also beat Bangladesh in a warm-up match.
Yeah, that's right. And then we've got we are playing Australia again. And then, we've got a warm-up match against South Africa on Wednesday, and then Australia is our first game in the tournament. So it's really going in with a hard one, especially because in the Ashes, which happened last month, we were kind of comprehensively defeated by Australia in that. So, yeah, it'd be, again, I think it'd be interesting to see kind of the reception to it here. If England do well, I can see it becoming very popular. It is being played on Sky Sports over here, but I think, unfortunately, because of it taking place in New Zealand, I think a lot of the matches start at midnight. So I think people that want to watch it will have to probably completely change their body clocks. So they're staying up in the middle of the night and sleeping in the day. But yeah, hopefully it'd be a really great tournament.
Yeah, I love that you've become a cricket fan now after you attended the 100 competition in London last year. Now we've got you really enthusiastic about it. So, yeah, this is great. We'll be following that one very closely, both of us. As I said, that starts this week. And that's a big deal because, as we've talked about here on the show before, haven't we, how much is happening in New Zealand and in Australia this year in terms of World Cups and different women's sports, major tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, we've had, we've got we were talking about the Football World Cup. We've got that happening next next year. I think it's the Netball World Cup happening over there. The Rugby World Cup as well, Australia or New Zealand. I can't remember. I can't remember which country is hosting it, but yeah, they're and the Commonwealth Games in years to come as well. They've got everything happening out there. Yeah, and you know, I think Australia and New Zealand have always been really good with their women's teams and promoting women's sport. So I think it's all of these tournaments are in very good hands.
They certainly are. We will have a lot to follow this spring and summer, so stay tuned here at Wisp Sports. Don't forget the show notes are online at wispsports.com, and the links to the show, to the stories that we cover, also online at wispsports.com. Just look for the show notes under the Sports Desk tab, under the Listen tab, and of course on social media too. You can follow us and join in the conversation on social media. Well, we're going to finish this week with the 10 most influential sportswomen. Nancy, you found this story. Who are they?
Yeah, it's a really interesting story here. I think especially because of the way it's been put together. So it's based off social media followers on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok, and then also Wikipedia page users as well. So who people are searching, I suppose, and wanting to find out more. So unsurprisingly, our number one is Serena Williams. Even despite the fact that she, you know, is not currently, hasn't retired, but isn't active and hasn't played since the US Open, I think it is in September, or was it Wimbledon in June? But anyway, mid last year, she hasn't played since then. But yeah, she's top of the list. Then Ronda Rousey, the MMA fighter, is second. Maria Sharapova, again, another kind of tennis player of an older generation. Alex Morgan, the American football player. I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that she's there. Sania Mirza, the Indian tennis player. Simone Biles, the gymnast, of course. Krista Jackson, the American basketball player. And then you've got PV Sindhu, the Indian badminton player. Naomi Osaka, Japanese tennis player. And then interestingly, I found this one really interesting, but it's a Swiss footballer called Alicia Lehmann, who plays for... Oh, I've forgotten who she plays for. She used to play for West Ham and then she moved to Everton, and I believe she still might be at Everton, but she plays in the league here, and she's not particularly famous, but I think she's got a really, really, really big social media following. So it's quite incredible that she's managed to make that list with all those absolutely massive names. So yeah, I think I imagine you'll share the link in the show notes, but quite an interesting study to read there.
Yeah, definitely. And now this is a compilation, I should say, isn't it, of different social media influencers?
Yeah, so it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. And then so they've accumulated their total social followers and then also looked at the Wikipedia page views in the past year, which is, again, another really interesting thing to look at, because even then, you've got the most Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka, and then you know they had kind of really significant years in that they were always in the news and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting to see the dynamic between the total amount of social media followers that someone has and the amount of times their Wikipedia page has been looked at as well. So yeah, it's a really interesting study.
And yeah, we will put in a link, obviously, to that on our show notes at wisports.com. Now, you're not going to let me finish the show without talking about skiing, are you? World Cup skiing?
No. Yeah, you've got to please give the skiing update. Otherwise, if it wasn't for this show, I would be in ignorance about what's happened every week. So yeah, I need the update. Okay,
the update is, well, everything changed this week. The girls were in Crans Montana in Switzerland for 2 downhill races. They'd one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And if you remember the name of Esther Ledecker, she really broke through at the last Olympic Games. Well, she won that first downhill, and she beat Ragnhild Mørkeved, the Norwegian girl, into second place, and the Austrian Connie Hutter was third. So she was on cracking form this weekend, Esther was. But she then, on Sunday, finished runner-up to the Swiss skier Priska Hofer, who got her first medal, first podium and her first gold why do I want to give them gold medals already? They had the gold medals, the Swiss. They had a lot of gold medals in the Olympics. But she got on top of the podium, and her first World Cup podium, that was for her, and on top of the podium, no less, beating Esther Ledecker. And then Sofia Goggia, who you remember, the Italian skier who, a downhiller, she really is a tour de force, Sofia, but she didn't go so well in Beijing as we half expected because of her injury when she had that crashing fall just 3 weeks prior. Well, she did actually manage to get on the podium. She didn't do so well on the Saturday, but she did much better on the Sunday, and she finished third in that World Cup race rather. Then they're going to Lenzerheide, also in Switzerland this weekend. They go to Aar in Sweden, then they come back to Lenzerheide. They've got three races left anyway, three World Cup races. So we'll bring you up to date with those next week. But well done to Priska, because that really is a terrific result for her. Priska Nufer, so a Swiss girl that we'll be obviously hearing a lot more of. We're not going to mention Lara this week too much because Lara didn't ski so well, and I don't know if she was tired. She didn't finish the first race. She actually skied out in the top third of the course. Over the first jump, she just landed just to the left a little bit and just missed the next gate. And then she was down the order a little bit the next day. So you have to wonder, after the Olympics, Nancy, she just wasn't tired, Yeah,
I mean, I feel like she probably would be happy with, as in sacrifice how she did at the Olympics for being a bit tired, in the following competitions. So, but yeah, hopefully she can have a good rest soon.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, 3 more races to go, 3 more World Cup venues to go before the end of this season. It will be spring before we know it. Nancy, that's a wrap for this week, though, I think, here on the news desk. How's training going for you?
Pretty good, yeah. As people that know regularly that listen regularly will know, I had COVID about a month ago, and I think that knocked me off kilter a bit. But I feel... yeah, getting back into the swing of things. I can't remember if I said last week, but there was a half marathon, just a casual one that I was planning on doing to get a sub 2, which I've just pushed back by a month because of the COVID thing. I was like, I don't want to push myself into something if I don't have time to do it properly. So yeah, I've just pushed that back to April. So just kind of preparing for that now. And yeah, it's going well. Evenings are getting lighter, which always make it easier for more pleasant running. So yeah, it's good.
For sure. Well, terrific. Okay, well, keep us posted here, and we will be back, of course, next week with a lot more news from around the world of women's sports. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Wisp Sports, and have your say too. We would love to hear from you. Nancy, remind everybody how they can follow you, read you.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. My Twitter is Nancy_Gillen, and my Instagram is Nancy_Gillen_sports. And then, yeah, everything I write is on Give Me Sport Women, which if you want to find us on Twitter, that's at Give Me Sport W.
Terrific. All right. Well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. Enjoy your sport. Stay safe, and we'll be back this time next week.